Hi everyone, my name is Greg Fisher. I'm a professor of entrepreneurship at the Kelley School of Business at Indiana University. In times of crisis like these, I believe we all have to focus on the things we can do to help, the areas where we have some kind of contribution to make. Doctors must focus on the sick, hospital administrators focus on creating more capacity, and grocery store managers focus on their supply chains. It would do more harm than good if I try to focus on anything in the medical field. But the place where I hope I can help a bit is with owner-managed businesses. The impact of COVID-19 on smaller entrepreneurial businesses, especially those in the hospitality, food, travel, events, or exercise industries, is just potentially catastrophic. The negative economic impact of COVID-19 will be felt long after the health impacts have disappeared or dissipated. So how should you as a business owner be thinking about restructuring and reorganizing your business in the face of this crisis? In order to discuss this issue, I'm going to draw on what I think is one of the most useful management and organization and entrepreneurship frameworks of the past 10 years. And that's the Business Model Canvas by Alex Osterwalder. In this canvas, he lays out the critical elements of a business in 9 basic building blocks and shows how they fit together in special and unique ways in order to create and deliver value. At the center of this canvas is the value proposition, which is the value that a business creates for a particular customer segment, the thing it does that customers love. On the right-hand side are all the customer elements, the segments that the customer segments that the business is focused on, the relationships it maintains with those customers, and the channels it uses to get that value to those customers. And out of that, at the bottom, come the revenue streams that the business generates, the way it generates income. On the back end or the left-hand side of the business model canvas are the things the business does to create that value, the activities it engages in and the resources it utilizes, and then the organizations or people that the business partners with to fill in the gaps that it's got. And out of that come the costs that the business typically incurs. And all coming together, this accounts for the customer aspects of the business, the operational aspects of the business, and the financial aspects of a business in a holistic kind of way. Now, this canvas can be very, very useful for us thinking about what needs to change in the face of crisis and where can business owners focus to make the biggest possible difference to survive the next 3 months. And in view of that, I've come up and honed in on 8 critical areas of focus for business owners in response to COVID-19. I believe there are 8 critical things to consider and act upon if you want to give your business the best chance of surviving over the next 3 months. And these 8 things are: first, cash management, knowing what your cash balance is and managing it carefully to survive this crazy time. Second, customer needs, how your customer needs are changing and have changed and how you need to adapt to that. Third, your core competencies, doubling down on the things that you're good at and connecting those with customer needs. 4, the need to change and switch our channels. The way we've typically done business in many areas of business is no longer available to us. And so we need to change the way we connect with our value with our customers. 5 is collaboration, not competition. In business and business strategy, we've often talked about out-competing or who our competitors are and how we're different. In times like these, we need to break that mindset and think about who can we collaborate with in order to survive. Number 6 is cutting back, knowing what we're not going to do in order to survive the next 3 months. Number 7 is adopting a community mindset and thinking about how your business can help the community and how you can draw on your community for help. And number 8 is communication. In times of crisis like these, business owners need to be communicating with all stakeholders in order to keep everyone informed. So now we're going to go into a little bit more detail in each of these areas and think about them in the context of the business model canvas. So number 1 was cash management. Carefully managing the cash coming in and the cash going out so that you can try not go into a negative cash situation in the next 3 months. So in the cash management realm, I think there are a few critical questions you need to be asking yourself. Firstly, what is my current cash balance? If you don't know it, you need to know it, and you need to monitor it on an ongoing basis. And when you know that, think about how long will it last? What are the sort of scenarios I've got in terms of making that cash balance last as long as possible? Then think about what can I do to generate more cash inflows in the next 3 months? What activities can I engage in? What other things could I be doing to bring cash in? Who could I collect cash from? And what are my other options for cash? Maybe getting a loan in place if there are government loans or other kinds of support loans available, or grants that are going to be put out to support businesses like yours. So think about cash from your customers, past, present, and future, and cash from other sources that can keep your business alive. And then thirdly, what can you do to limit cash outflows in the next few months? What can you not be doing? What can you cut back on? How can you change your cost structure in your business so that you limit cash outflows? So you're trying to keep the revenue streams and cash inflows up and limit the costs and cash outflows as much as you can. Second place to focus is on customer needs. Customer needs are changing, have changed, and will continue to change under the wake of this pandemic. So you need to be thinking about what the customer needs are going to be going forward and which customers can you serve under these conditions. So the questions which I encourage you to ask yourself is, which customers need my product or service under the conditions of COVID-19? Some customers probably need your product or service more than in the past, and some don't need it any longer because they no longer have an opportunity to use what you offer. Hone in and focus on which customers do still and can still use your product or service. And second, what needs do my customers now have that I could fulfill? As I've said, needs have changed. People are locked up indoors. People are no longer able to interact in the way that they've had. But that brings with it a different set of needs that you might be able to fulfill. And if you focus on what needs your customers have, talk to them if need be to figure out what their current needs are so that you can potentially fulfill those. And as a result of that, you can really isolate and identify how your customer needs have changed and use that as a basis to make smart decisions going forward. Third area to focus on, your core competencies, the things you're good at, the things you do well, the things that you have typically been at the core of your business. And that's typically comes out of a combination of the key activities that you engage in and the resources you've got at your disposal. And you've got to double down or focus back on those things that you do well in times like this. So ask yourself the question, what am I or what are we as a business really good at? What are we known for? What are we able to consistently do in an effective way that we could continue doing? And therefore, how can I or we as a business leverage our unique skills and resources to create and deliver value in the context of COVID-19? That's the key. And if you do that, you combine that with an identification of new or different customer needs, you can then reconfigure or configure an updated or renewed value proposition at the center of this canvas. Value proposition being the combination of goods and services that you provide in order to create value for a customer segment. So number 4 is thinking about changing channels, or the channels that need to change as a result of what's happened. Many states are not allowing people to go into restaurants or to go into gyms or to gather in large numbers. And as a result of that, many businesses need to think about how they can differently connect with customers. What do they need to do differently to get their value proposition to their customer segments? And so the questions to ask here is, which channels for reaching customers are open to me under these conditions? What are the options? The online options, the telephone-based options, the options for remote delivery of some sort, and brainstorm on what those options might be. Are there channels we've not yet thought of? And here I really need many businesses to think outside the box, not just the traditional channels, but different ways of getting your value proposition to your customer that you haven't yet thought of? And thirdly, how can I deliver value through an online channel? More and more and more business is going to happen over online channels over the next few months. And so you thinking about leveraging video-based stuff or online interactions to engage with your customers, the better off you're going to be. And it is sometimes going to prompt you or necessitate that you think creatively about how you can deliver your value via an online channel. Number 5 is the idea of collaboration, not competition. How can I work with others to survive the next 3 months, as opposed to how do I compete with others to have a sustainable competitive advantage? And so under this notion of breaking the idea of I'm competing with all the other organizations doing similar things around me, I think you should be thinking about how can I work, who can I work with, and how can I work with others to create and deliver value under these conditions. And that might mean working with your competitors. Which of my competitors might actually be viable partners? And thirdly, what do I need? Who has that? And how might we work together? Under these conditions, we're going to need more and more collaborations and organizations coming together to jointly survive what's going on, as opposed to thinking in just self-interested ways about how they survive without interfacing with or working with anyone else. Number 6 is an area I was, to be frank, a little uncomfortable putting in. Because the obvious answer to all of this is, oh, we need to cut back. We need to fire employees. We need to shift a whole lot of stuff that we were doing and just not pay people. But that's not the humane way of reacting to all of this. But we still need strategic questions to be asked about what you shouldn't be doing. Projects you might want to put on hold, or development exercises you might want to restrain, or training you might want to no longer deliver. So what could I decide not to do in the interests of saving costs and cash? Strategy is often about what you decide not to do. And in times like this, it's critical to make strategic and clear choices about what you're not going to do. But when you do that, think about how you can cut back in humane and ethical ways. Keep people employed in some way. Allow people to generate, who work for you, to generate some kind of income for themselves. It might not be as much as it was in the past, but you don't want to just make whole-scale cutbacks and allow people to lose their jobs because they're not going to have any other options in these conditions. This is your time to step up and lead. Cut back, but do it sensibly and do it in a way that you don't just leave people out on the street or out without any form of income or out without a job. So how can you do it in a humane and ethical way? Number 7 is the idea of community help and the fact that we're all in this together. And so if you adopt a community mindset, you can both leverage or generate benefit from being part of a community, but also contribute to that community. So question number 1 in this regard is, who needs my help in the community right now? If I can help others now, then I'm going to be so much more sustainable going forward. And as a result of that, I can go out and ask for help. So how might I collaborate with others in my community to generate and deliver value? And who in the community might be willing to help me? And more we're seeing that local regions are supporting each other, and this idea of communities becoming stronger. And as a result of that, businesses can leverage this idea to survive, to both help others and get help from others. If you're able to do these 8 things, all of which, or focus on these 8 things, all of which begin with C to help you remember them a little easier, I think you've got some really strong leverage points to give yourself the best chance of seeing through the next 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months, so that your business can survive and actually come out of this stronger, more effective, more efficient as a result of streamlining it in line with managing cash carefully, focusing on customer needs, doubling down on core competencies, changing channels where needed, collaborating, not competing, cutting back on non-essentials and things that are not needed, orientating around the community and communicating. Good luck as you embark on this endeavor.